Sarah Jenkins.
Dude, what's up?
It's I'm in Australia, so it's 7 a.m. for me here. So I'm waking up.
Where's
How
your
are you?
coffee? Good. Does it
Oh,
sound okay?
sorry. Yeah, you
Does
sound
it sound
fine.
okay? Okay.
Yeah, and I love the background. I've blurred mine. This is my real office, but it's almost it's the equivalent of like tidying up.
Well, you blurred it. I can't even see what's cool about it.
Oh well, there's like a piano on one side. There's guitars off screen. It's
So when you're not doing the
it,
hypnosis stuff, you're playing instruments?
it as I've been here for 14 years, so like as time's gone on, I think I've more designed it for myself.
That's
But
fair.
as I've added more and more instruments, like clients, they don't mention anything. Like once in a while, if they've got a special interest, they'll say, "Is that a bass ukulele?" I'm like, "Yes."
Wow, what a unique talent you have. Very cool.
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's always good to sort of like break things up. Like I've got a theory. Like I wanted to ask you questions to pick your brain, but
Sure.
like I just find like there's your introvert stuff you got to do, and your extrovert stuff you got to do. Um, you've got to keep them as far away as possible so that you're not transitioning all the time.
Whew, that's a tricky one. I'll do my
Oh
best.
yeah, when possible, in a perfect world.
Yeah.
So it's a real honor just to to get to meet you, just to say hello.
Oh no, I
Um,
haven't seen you in years. How have you been?
good. I mean, like in Australia, like how like we were on the news in 2020 because of our bushfires, and then that was out of the news very quickly.
Yeah.
Everyone had the lockdowns, but then I think ours was like longer than Sydney's by one day, and so we were in the news for that for just ticking over.
Okay.
Um, and we didn't take well to it apparently.
Oh no, you don't like the rules?
Oh no, no, yeah. Like we're all criminals in Australia.
I fit
That's
right
how we
in.
all got started. Um, I've got my list of questions. Are you cool if I just like roll with this and just ask? I mean, because like my list will know me. Like I'm the king of a very humble, tiny little patch in Australia in my niche. Um,
Very cool.
you're just asking, from scratch, like who are you and how do we know?
How do you guys know me? That's funny. Um, I'm not sure many people know who I am. It just depends on where you're looking. Who am I? I'm Sarah Jenkins. I'm the co-founder and owner of Kartra and Webinar Jam, and before that, a bunch of fairly successful companies from marketing, SEO, consulting, traffic. I remember Marketing Genesis back in the day.
I remember hacks and films, all those things. Like I've been following.
I get a check from Hacks and Films for some of the films we did a long time ago that were super, super fun. Very cool to be on set. All those guys are professional, awesome dudes. And Jane.
Yeah, I saw recently. Oh, it says someone else trying to enter the chat. Brian's AO note taker. Do you know that person?
Nope.
Okay, I'll leave it then. um, maybe it's like AI taking over.
Oh, well, I wouldn't. I'd be like, no, get out.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Just kick
In
them.
one of your recent videos, I think like you had a Bigfoot toy.
Oh, of course I do. I've got my Bigfoot toy in my living room. So Becca broke one and she felt terrible. But then Ricky bought me a new one for Christmas last year. I was so excited. I got it back. The Bigfoot statue that we got.
Excellent. And that was
Yeah.
based on the movie. Like, was it like 2014? Was it or?
We filmed it was filming in 2011 and 2012.
Right.
And then it was launched in 2013, called Exists. It was the Bigfoot horror movie. It was really, really fun to make. Didn't do great in theaters.
You've got to give it your best. I think you've got to, because you guys had, I think your fingers in a lot of pies.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is our marketing. So, Andy and the marketing stuff, like when he did consulting
Yes.
and masterminds and stuff like that, like I did all the back end, all the ops, all the accounting, all the customer service, whatever was needed. And he's like, I got to go film this movie. And I was like, for what revenue? Like, he was like, I just love filming. I was like, let's film things for our company. Let's film things for, our clients. Instead of doing live masterminds in our house, which we can do, why don't we do an every other and do one on like It wasn't even Zoom. It was like a go-to webinar. We paid tens of thousands for this super strenuous video thing that we did for Bossathon back in the day. And he's like, I was like, why don't we do that again? You like video. The movies we make are not paying off. You like making movies. That's how
Yeah.
Webinar Jam came to be. We decided
Wow.
to make our Bossathon that was so expensive available for other marketers, but we can make that. So we decided just to make it. We made Webinar Jam. That's how we started making money in the very beginning, is making video easy and affordable.
Yeah. I bought a license to Webinar Jam when it came out because I think you guys always did the like for loyal people that get in early.
You still have
And
it?
the Bossathon, sorry?
Do you still have it?
Yeah.
You still
And
use it?
sometimes. And
Oh,
well, the Bossathon, that's actually where I actually learned about some of the big names in the industry.
yeah,
Um,
actually, I remember. We had them all in our house doing that Bossathon, and I was doing commenting and comment moderating.
yeah. I remember that like Brendan had 2 beers that day or something.
Oh well, Brendan had made he didn't drink, so we had him do 2 beers with Andy just because he doesn't really drink, and so it's kind of Andy's thing to get
Yes.
them to do cool stuff on camera. Like, um, yeah, Brendan did that, but Evan didn't have time to come on. And he's like, I don't have time. I can't do that. So we put him on shirts and we all wore these Evan Pagan shirts on the Bossathon. We made him be on whether he liked it or not. It was really fun.
Yeah. And it's funny, like with Evan's 2 names, people ask me sometimes, like, oh, do you know of like David D'Angelo? And I'm like,
Oh,
and
he's
then I
got
have to
more than
think
that.
more than that. Yeah.
He's got
Um,
Christian Carter, Catch 'em and Keep 'em, David D'Angelo, Double Your Dating, and then Evan Pagan and a bunch of other things.
yeah. Like there's this whole kind of like almost extended universe, kind of like Marvel that you guys have. Like when I was reading The Game by Neil Strauss,
Yeah, that
and
guy.
I'm going, all right, so there's some familiar names in that because they're talking about Evan Pagan in that book.
Well,
Uh,
okay, so a bunch of us did all that marketing for them. So whether when you look at all the guys that run the Boston, those are all my friends and neighbors. Like I still talk to Ed Dale. I'm still friends with, now it's Roland Fraser up the street. Frank moved to La Jolla. I mean, all those guys are still, I mean, Joe was supposed to meet me last week, Joe Polish. Like these are all my friends and they do marketing for Joe does a bunch of Paula Abdul. He does his genius networking. We've got Roland who does the Damon John mastermind, the Rise Nation. We've got Frank did all of Tony Robbins' marketing. We did the guy that owns Visalis, his marketing, just because we're good at those little direct response bits. It was easy for us. It was
Absolutely.
fun.
Well, it's interesting because like you know what you're talking about because it feels like sometimes the higher up the food chain you go, the more simple the answers
Yeah,
because people say do it, have a go. And at the bottom, they're very specific about all of their ways that they, I suppose, go in circles.
sure. That makes sense.
I was hoping to ask, just because it feels like every time that there's something new in the news, people start to assume that everything you've ever taught no longer works. All of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
there's a switch that goes the no longer works switch, and it was kind of like whether it was the GFC, like there's been a million of them. So then there was like COVID. It's like, oh no, everything you've ever taught doesn't work anymore. What's the new stuff? And you kind of going like, well, it wasn't working for the people that did no action
Right.
before this. It's going to
Right.
continue to not work for people that do no action until the end, to the heat death of the universe.
Right.
Whereas that anyone who's like doing anything of any form, you're probably going to start to get some success. Then you'll start asking real questions.
But isn't that just in a form of excuses, right? So if you're going to plant a garden, you say, "Oh, I can't do it. It's snowing." You can't break ground when it's snowing. Duh, of course. Then if it starts raining in May, the May, gray, June, Greenland, whatever, and you're like, "Oh, I can't do it today. Oh, I can't do it today. I got to work more. Oh, I can't do it today. One of my kids is sick." You can always have a reason to not do anything you want.
Yeah,
That seems silly. Then you'll never have a garden.
and we're not beating them up either. Like we're not these people that are like we don't mind.
No, no, you can do nothing. That's totally fine with me. You relax.
Yeah, absolutely. So because like without naming everything that's going on the planet, but it's kind of like it's overseas or it's local. It's all those different categories. It's the what is it, a month and a half until you guys are having an election? Oh no, yeah, you're from Michigan, is it?
Oh, well, so I'm from Michigan.
Yeah,
But I live in California, so I've been Californian. I think I pretty much became an adult in California. Moved here when I was 19. That's where I had my first husband, kids, the whole thing, businesses. But I was raised in Detroit, and one of my
right,
good friends now is a U.S. senator in Michigan. So like I'm still kind of connected.
right. I don't know my US geography, but I looked it up before talking to you, and I was looking at like your straight like Detroit is just like just north of some of Canada. Like there's this whole kind of like Lego piece that kind of
We're all Canadian. My parents are born and raised Canadian. All my family's Canadian. I was a border kid. My mom crossed the border to have me, and then we moved to the States when I was like 4 or 5.
oh wow,
Yeah, it's an hour from my house in Michigan.
that's cool. I've been to Hawaii. That's the closest, you know, 'cause but with everything going on, like, why is everyone so mad about things that, let's say that, like, that 2 weeks ago they haven't heard of?
So, like, that's a good question. When you say mad, like, what do you think that they might be mad about? Like, what specifically would you like to touch on?
It's different every week. So, um,
Oh, you mean just
let's
in
say, like,
general, like people get pissed off at stuff? Or are they just using that as an excuse?
well, let's say, like I do, like, quit smoking hypnotherapy, and people go, Palestine versus Israel, like, which team you on? I'm like, I haven't done the reading. Like, there's people that have done the reading. If it's okay, I'm just a little bit behind. And so they've gone, well, what do you think about Palestine? I've gone, well, are they smoking? I can help with that. I do quit smoking hypnotherapy.
I
I
see. So
haven't
you're going
learned.
to talk about the issues because that's what you help with. When somebody's mad about an issue, you have the help solution for the anger.
Yeah, they might say, like, what does your business stand for this week? And I'm going, I stick to very much like a lane of like, well, I know what I'm talking about, like when it comes to my profession. And then
Yeah.
they'll say, like, Ukraine, Russia, what do you think of that? And I'm like, well, there are, let's say if you want to find out about that, you would go to an expert, not me.
So are you going to talk about like when somebody comes to you with those issues, are they coming to you with a business, why it's impacting their business and their marketing? Or are they coming to you because it affects their personal and you're helping individuals? Or is it both?
So I've done like a lot of clinical hypnotherapy for the last 14 years, like where I help people with not just addiction, but they'll come with anxiety and all sorts of things. They
Okay.
want to discuss the world. Then I'll kind of like ask, like, how is this affecting you personally? But
Yep.
then they'll come back with business advice for me saying, oh, you should put something on your social media this week about stuff.
Well, if you go
Um,
that deep though, you'll have to keep up with what's going on, but also it always comes
yeah,
down to the human element. Like why are they anxious about Palestine? Why are they anxious about webinar or sorry, my son just ran in the room. Why are they anxious about what's happening in Russia? Is it going to impact them personally? Is it going to impact their business? Is there anything they can do about it? No. Why are you putting your brain in that position? Why are you allowing your thoughts to get that negative and angry? It's only going to affect your personal life or your business. There's nothing you can do about it. Seems sort of like a waste of space.
100%. I think like with like the firemen, they put the fires out, so I'm not worried. So I trust that there's people in place to do things.
Otherwise, you're going to have to go out and learn a lot about fires real quick if it's in your neighborhood. Seems like a lot of
100%.
education for nothing.
Yeah, I don't do every job. So to get like for people to get the focus back onto their marketing, let's say even if like just the internet just seems to be chewed up with like the local issues, like what's the latest thing now? It's like, oh, now it's too late. The new latest thing now, then now the new latest thing.
You should be ignoring those. You should be focusing on what you need to focus on, your family and your company. What are you doing on the internet? Looking around at the stuff on the news, it's always going to be negative. Guess what sells? Reward or fear? Fear sells more often. So the news is mostly fear. They don't give you the good news, even though there's lots of good news out there. You could find that if you're looking, but you're not. You're looking at the news, it's all negative. Why are you putting your brain there? Go away from that. Shut that door.
Absolutely. So you might say like give yourself permission just to let it go.
Turn it off. Yep. Because
Yeah,
it's not your
absolutely.
fault and you can't do anything about it. So what are you focusing on it that's not going to help your family or your company? So if your brain is there, it's taking away that valuable space in your brain and your time.
I do admire how focused you are. Like, I mean, it's the way to be.
Thanks. I
Like
try.
maybe it doesn't always feel like it. How did you get involved in marketing from the beginning? Like, what's your origin story?
Okay. Well, so which husband? I'm just kidding. I got involved in marketing early. Um, I was raised in a cult from back in the day. It was been labeled a cult. I don't know, in the last, I don't know, 15 years, but it wasn't called
Yeah,
that when I was raised in it. So it's been interesting, but it shaped my beginning story. But then I was also raised homeschooled because of our beliefs, and your father's in charge of picking your spouse and all that fun thing. But we were also in Amway. So my dad was backstage doing the all the technician stuff for an Amway convention of thousands of people, and the backstage is the multi millionaires who were going to speak. So I was raised in that, and I was working in the tool room for these events, and all these multimillionaires, I met several, spent a ton of time with them. And I was like, you know what? I mean, if they can do it, these are just people working hard, working with other people, giving a value and a benefit. I can do that. I'd like to own my own business. So when I got in trouble when I was 15 for like, I think I was grounded for a year, um, for many reasons. But one of them, my mom was like, "What are you even going to do with your life for homeschooled?" I was like, "Well, honestly, I'd like to own my own company." And she's like, "Really?" And she was kind of like, "Oh, so you do have like a goal?" I was like, "Well, yeah, I've seen who can do it, so I can do it." And I was 15.
Yeah.
She got me a job at a little boutique that was owned by a woman from our church, and she took me in at 15, twice, 3 times a week, and I was learning sales, hiring, taxes, inventory, everything about owning a company with products. Start small.
100%. It's kind of weird, like when you say to people, like, learn about leads and sales. They're like, what? Is that it? I was like, well, you probably should
Traffic
learn
and
it.
conversions. Yeah.
Yeah. They were like, no, I don't think that's it because there's a new product out. I think that's it instead. And you're like, there's always a new one out that diverts you. Like there's this wheel that they spin of distractions.
Man, I guess focus is so important. Get rid of all that crap. You should be the new thing that people are looking to buy. You should be that new cool thing. You should be excited about it. Your own thing.
Yeah. Like even when some of the bigger marketers say that the biggest thing in your business is, even they spin a wheel because they're gonna like go like it's leads, or they'll say it's your offer, or they'll say it's your CRM, or they'll say, but it's kind of like that's their headline that week.
But it always comes back to traffic and conversions. You get people to your website, you convert those into sales. That is it.
Yeah, absolutely. So people, you would definitely say they overthink it.
They overthink, they're letting their brain go too many places. It's you're okay. If you're gonna get dinner, you're gonna go in the kitchen, you're looking in your cupboard, looking in your fridge. If you have no idea, you're like, oh, what do I eat? I don't want anything. You're gonna get the pizza because
Yeah,
eventually you get overwhelmed by all your choices. But if you sit down and go, okay, I need to plan dinner for the week. I've got this 30 minutes, whatever. We could do this day, plan like 3 or 4 days in a row. Now you don't have the mind numbingness of going to your kitchen to look for your meals. You've got focus. You've decided you're making this decision. Same thing in your company. You have to decide what decisions you're going to make and start moving that direction.
absolutely. So are there any sort of let's say either habitual challenges or sort of mindset things that you had to overcome?
Um, overcome. Well, there's things that get in your way, like the news and stuff. So if you sit down and self-evaluate, I think self-discovery is the holy grail. If you know why you're
Oh yeah,
doing things, what's holding you back, what you're good at, how can you excel at those things, that's amazing. That's where you find your biggest potential quickest, right?
yeah,
So if you know what's holding you back. So for me, I've got the 5 kids. I work from home. I
yeah,
don't have a big community. It's a gated community of 20 homes. Like, so I don't have what a lot of other people have maybe in their way. Other things in my way. I don't have a community outside. I don't take my kids to school. I've got the nannies doing that because if I drive my kids to school, I don't get to have that 8 a.m. meeting, and my kids don't mind. I work from
yeah,
home. I see them every day, all day when they are home. But I've delegated out the things that are taking my time away from my family and my business.
absolutely. And so Genesis Digital, that's your company.
Yes, it is.
Because I remember names like there was like Video Boss and there was Video Genesis around the time of like inception.
We did,
And
we
then
did, we did, we did the Video Boss back in the day. We did Video Boss even bossier, and then we did Traffic Genesis, Marketing Genesis, and then we did Webinar Jam, Every Webinar, and now Kartra.
yeah, like that stuff was just as good for entertainment as it was for information.
Well, infotainment's really fun. You're learning and it's hilarious. Why wouldn't you check in?
Oh yeah. I mean, this morning I rewatched a video from 11 years ago, I think it was, about productivity with Andy.
Funny.
Um, and he kind of made the point about like that people do go in loops. They do kind of like focus so much on like employment mindset. And he said like, once kind of you become like an entrepreneur, the outcome is important. So like you will do things that basically feed the outcome. So you will do something to test it, then do something to test it. And there's a series of steps, but it's very much like it's kind of take action.
You want to take action all the time, whether it's towards the positive or the negative. If you see your marketing
Yes.
team is not making the value that you need them to, you're going to cut them. And don't waste time seeing how they're going to feel about it. Oh my word, how am I going to tell them? Figure it out. Be like, hey, it's not working. It's not going to work out. Sorry, today's your last day or Friday's your last day, whatever. Just get it done. Then you've got space in your brain. That's done. We got to hire a new person for this special copywriting skill that this person wasn't living up to the potential that I need. It's just decisions. You have to be very decisive very quickly if you have the high level thinking. What you do is if you get into the employee mindset, you're like, why are we wasting so much money on pencils or printing paper, whatever. You get into that weird small niche thing. Get out of there. Get it out of your brain. You're like, that's actually not very important. That $19 a month I'm going to save is not that important. Let me put that out of my brain and go, okay, what is actually important? What are we spending money on supplies that we don't need to as a whole? What are the supplies actually creating for our team? What are they getting to build out of it? So I could ignore that it's going to cost this much. I don't know. You have to become very decisive about everything and think higher than you are. No, most of it's not worth your time. I've had calls from lawyers and partners go, I need to talk to you tonight. I need to get your feedback on something. And I'm like, no, I don't feel like talking to you tonight. I've got my kids. It's Friday night. I'm busy. Nothing is urgent.
Yeah.
And Monday, guess what? They're like, hey, can you talk now? I'm like, yes, I can. Guess what? Now I'm available. Now it's my time to talk to you. And everything could wait the 3 or 4 days. The urgency almost never truly exists.
I think as you get older, you learn that.
Well, as many things can blow up in your face that you've handled, you're like, well, if it happens, it happens.
Yeah, you start to figure out like what's really urgent, what's not urgent. Because with like say like the core drivers today, this is like somebody wants to get like a whole bunch of leads, and I think I've looking at the way people see it. Um, you said like there's leads and sales, there's a whole funnel, and people seem to kind of like not know where the bits go. Like you can give them the map, but they still kind of when they give it advice, they're not sure if the advice goes here or if the advice goes there. Um, because like when it comes to like sales, it might be something like the core drivers you're trying to get across to people is basically reduce resistance. But like maybe when it comes to leads, maybe some of the core drivers are you're trying to sort of get in front of their to-do list or whatever their brain is currently looking for at that exact second. What would you say are some of the core drivers today that people will stop and click for?
Well, if you look at how people get clients right now, it's either advertising, some of it's still SEO, a lot of it
Yep.
is social media, and some of it's your email list still, or your text messaging email, basically you're advertising through text. So if you want to be the solution to their problem, that's what your advertising is going to look like. But you should be looking at that all of it. The basics that we learned back in the day about SEO, landing pages, what color your font is, where your opt-in goes, all of those things are still
Yeah.
relevant. Do you remember when everyone did some cool SEO shenanigans and we all got our websites to rank really high and then Google figured it out and smacked us?
Is that when the Panda came out?
That's the one. So the
Yeah.
Panda slap, everyone got hurt who did sort of little non-great SEO thing. They figured your website is actually not the best for dental in Nevada because you're in Florida or whatever. Like they figured it out, right? So your SEO is
Yeah.
still important. When you do a YouTube video and you get that like transcribed underneath the video, Google crawls it twice and you're on a Google platform. So now if you're paying for any advertising, it'll cost you. You should spend a little less because your video is going to rank if your niche is in your video and in your transcriptions. You've twice SEO'd for it in the video and in the text. It's just you've got to go through all those things and then take a little clip of it that makes sense. Throw that 30-second clip that's magical onto the social medias. You have to do all the little work, compartmentalize it and say landing page, advertising, SEO, video marketing, social media. Get those little things you're participating in all the little areas you can for the maximum benefit.
I love that. And a lot of it sounds like be smart but don't cheat because people cheat themselves by thinking they're saving time.
Yes, all the
Like
time.
even like the big elephant in the room today of AI. I
Yeah.
think
Well, I think most people aren't utilizing it correctly.
yeah, because they'll say um, write me an ad, then they'll say write me a better one. And I think from what I figured out is that it doesn't know what you mean by better one. It just rolls the dice again, and they go, "Oh, the second one's better."
Well,
Because
okay, but let's go back to all those marketing books that you read. You read the Neil Strauss, the
yeah,
the game, and then when you read like Sun Tzu Art of War, what you want to do is when you're going to war with somebody, the best way to win is to reverse the map as if you were the enemy. What are they looking at? What are they going to expect of you? Where do they think you're coming from? You do it with your client. What is your client going to look for? What are they going to be attracted to? Flip the board and get that reverse option in your brain of what or how are you going to reach them best? How do they think they're going to find you best? Like reverse engineer it in your head.
yeah. Because it feels like when it comes to mental health, the core driver, like people think, is like they put out an ad and a headline that says like scientifically proven formula to calm you down. It's like, if you ask a woman to calm down, how does she respond?
Well, in my case, our house only burned down twice, so that wasn't great.
Yeah. So generally, you don't tell someone to calm down. It's like you acknowledge them.
Usually that's the right answer. If you can, if you're in the fight and you want to tell your wife to calm down, maybe take a breather.
Yeah. Like I went through like I joined a Facebook group like all about anxiety, and I just like grabbed the first 100 posts and took the first sentence, and every single one of them for mental health and anxiety, they're asking, is it normal if, or is it normal that? And it's just, am I normal?
Well, you know how to start a headline. You know how to start a headline with what you're finding on the internet. Reverse engineer it. Use that same headline to answer the problem.
Yeah. But when it comes to business, it's like everything's time.
Yeah, it has to be. There's no way
And
around
it's
it. That's something
almost,
you just have to get on board with. Understand that about yourself and your company and what you're moving forward and
yeah.
people listening.
Just like the pickup art books say that attraction is not a choice. It's almost like clickbait's not a choice. You have to click if the headline's good enough.
Yeah, I find I get a lot of that when it's something interesting to me, or when I first got Instagram, I didn't understand algorithms and my feed was always like videos of like puppies and babies. I was like, this isn't worth it. It's not about business, but I keep clicking on them. So I'm like, well, that's my whole freaking thing. So I went and changed my own algorithm on Instagram, finding and searching videos I wanted to look for, and then clicking and sharing just those ones. And I manipulated sort of Instagram to show me those things that I was more looking for more often. So it's fun to do. It's fun to figure that out. And if honestly you're teaching some marketing thing, teach that you can do that to your Instagram and your Facebook. You can show other people in a video how to do that for what they want to search for.
Absolutely. If they care to be disciplined within themselves. Like
Right.
if they actually want to save time, that's actually a brilliant way to do it.
Make it count.
Um, I'd love to hear like what would you say are some steps people should take, and then like what are you working on? What is there something you're promoting?
Um, I'm just starting my Paid to Create podcast again, where I'll talk about
Yeah,
all of this fun stuff with me and AJ. We'll do questions and interviews with other people as we think will be fun. We did Paid to Create before, and it was interviews with other business owners that was really interesting and fantastic information, but it was less fun. And we'd like to do the same thing again with each other, interviewing each other about some of our skills that we think are helpful, and then bringing in other business owners that can help based on what we're saying. And then
yeah,
obviously I promote webinar, I promote video on the internet no matter what. The most money you could ever make is with video. If you don't like video, use the slideshows and the animatronics and all the little clip art you can do. Like we've done back in the day with Video Boss. Most of it wasn't us on video, but it was the
yeah,
voiceover and stuff like that. But honestly, the few things that I do all the time is find my own motivation. If your goals change, your motivation, your steps will change, your tasks will change, your mindset will change. So figure that out first. Get in a mastermind or a coaching group. I'm in several. I've been speaking at several, but it's where you find people that will encourage you in your own thinking, in your own company where you're going. If you say, hey, I'm doing this thing, everyone in a mastermind that you join wants to be encouraged and they'll encourage you. Oh, that's a great idea. You should try this. Like, oh, I should try it. I should try that. Thank you so much.
yeah. I'm
That's
reading
like a
this at the
key
moment.
element. Oh, there you go. Atomic Habits. Love it.
It's the Bible at the moment.
Oh, okay, great. Well, then take time for yourself. I like to do half an hour to an hour with a yellow pad all alone. I've got little corners in my house where the kids don't go because usually they're at school. And I can
Nice.
say, there's nothing in front of me. My phone, my computer's gone. What am I going to do? Use your creative space, the thing that you got in business for in the first place. What drove you to become an entrepreneur? Your creative brain is always going. So give yourself space away from your tasks and away from things that are holding you down. Give yourself freedom to think higher, think main tasks, think money building skills or links that you think people will click on, how to highlight those and rewrite them 7 times. Whatever. If you don't give yourself that
Yeah,
freedom to think, you're not going to come up with those overarching, amazing creative goals for your niche. And then I say get a virtual assistant. You should never be doing your own emails. You should never be working your own calendar and taking those
yeah,
hours off your plate. You're looking at 27 new emails in the morning. It's like, geez, where do you even start? Have your assistant go, these two matter. How do you want me to respond? This is going to go on your calendar. Do you want to attend this thing? Do you want to do this event? That's how I
yeah.
know. It's super affordable.
I think even Brendan was saying that the worst thing you can ever do is check your emails when you wake up.
That he did say that, and I was like, he doesn't do emails. Oh my word! And then we have a guy that's partnered with me. He's like, what kind of CEO doesn't do email? I'm like, this one. Hey. Hello.
Yeah. One's the value their time.
It's great. I've got her doing 5 different email accounts that I have, and she's amazing. I don't touch them.
Perfect. Because it sounds like obviously like freedom's like a big thing for you, but like I was going to ask, what drove you to get into this? Is it that? Is it freedom?
Oh yeah, I wanted I wanted to build a business based completely on my own rules and my own lifestyles. I shut down our website, or and I shut down our office in La Jolla completely with all of our staff inside. I shut it down. It's like, go home. Everyone's worked from home since 2014. I'm like, you're done.
Right.
You're out. Go home.
You opened the door so they could leave.
I kicked him out. Yeah, and I told Andy,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
working with from home. You want to go
Yeah. You didn't.
places? We'll all go. Me, you, and that baby, and the other kids are going with you. We're all going together as a family. Family's the most important. He's like, okay, great.
Yeah. Because funny, like since like the pandemic, that's like everything changed, but a lot of business actually improved.
Well, but and also they're not pulling people back in the office. I'm like, why? You've lowered your liability. You've lowered your internet, your cable costs, your everything that you have that's a problem in the office. People showing up late, people not doing their work hard enough. They're bored at being there. You've solved that problem if they're at home, and you don't have to work with everybody. You don't have to work with everyone staying home. You don't have to work with anyone in an office. Some people can't work at home, and that's they should go to an office. Some people thrive on working at home. They get a little
Yeah.
freedom. They get to get up and get their coffee and not have to manage anyone's time on where they're at in front of their desk, but they get more done. They're more into that company if
I
they
love
have some
these.
of the freedom.
I love the ridiculous arguments against it. Like when they say like a nurse can't work from home, so why should an office worker? Like because the nurse has to touch a patient. The office worker doesn't have to touch
The artist
anybody.
doesn't have to go to artist school to do her painting. She can do it by the ocean or in her bathroom, wherever she wants, right? You don't have to tell the
Yeah,
different industries to do the same thing. I'm not going to go work in a surgeon's office. I have to write
yeah,
copy. I just have to type. It's weird.
that's it. We actually let the firefighters leave their building.
They don't go to an office at all. They just house in their building till a fire shows up. It's weird.
Yeah, shouldn't they just hang out there, like, and sort of like get a big hose and that just keep sort of adding to it until it reaches their house?
Exactly. They should have way more fun that way.
Yeah, I think though, like people make their mind up before they come up with the logic or the reasoning.
But the more you're wrong, the more you'll second guess what you're saying. You'll go, huh, what if? Maybe think about it a little longer before you open your mouth. Maybe.
There's emotions and there's momentum, and they seem to kind of dictate a lot of stuff for people. Like,
They
I
should go
don't know,
back to why. Why? If they're so motivated by what they think, they're so motivated by their anger and their Palestine or whatever. Why? Why? Is that helping your company or business? Why? You want to run things in your office? Why? If somebody wants to work from home, why? Is that possible? Why not? Or why? You just
yeah,
ask questions of yourself and in your head and about your staff and about your product all the time.
the boss could go to the therapist and discuss why. It's like I
Yeah.
just miss hanging out with people. They're going, okay, well, can you still hang out with people? Like, yeah, but
Well,
I would have to do something else. It's like,
right. Well, you've got that introvert side too, though. So staying at home is not a bad thing for you either.
yeah. Oh, I love both. I
Yeah,
just like to
both
keep
sides.
them away from each other. Like if you heard of like the idea like there's a mechanic and like someone comes into the front door, like you hear like the little bell thing that gets like hit by the door, and it's like, how can I help you? It's like, oh, my car's got some issues. Like there's like a weird smell coming out of the air conditioner. There's a weird sound coming out from like this side. He lists 12 things and he's like, all right, give me your keys. I'll call you back with a quote. He goes back into the garage, then he looks at like all of the different cars, and then he works out his day. And then he's like elbow deep in grease, and then the door goes again. Then he comes back out. It's like, oh, well, hang on. Takes his gloves off, washes his hands. He's back out there, and it's like, how can I help you? And he gets another list of 12 things. And then he's just kind of like, once the second customer leaves, he's just stunned by going, what was I doing? I'll have a coffee.
I'll have a coffee. I'll have a coffee as well.
Yeah. You got like someone then like one person at the front, like a few people in the garage, and everything just sort of runs smooth. You're like, here's your the person who knows how to speak without swearing, and here's the others. And there's a
Then in the
magical
back, we'll
line.
hide those.
Yeah, there's a magical yellow line like when the garage starts, where like you turn up at like 10 minutes before they close, and you say, can you work on my car for me? And the guy and you go, are you sure it's not too late in the day? No, that's fine. That's perfectly good. And then like from that yellow line, sound does travel, and you hear, "You've got to be kidding me!" Plus some other words as well. And you're
Right.
like, You sure it's okay that I brought my car? That it's fine. And then like and back there you almost hear someone go, I'm gonna bash him. You're like
Put your helmets on. We're doing it. We're getting it done.
I'll leave the car with you. I'll come back tomorrow or something.
Yeah,
But
overnight.
yeah, it's
We'll do it overnight.
yeah. But there's only so many principles I suppose you need to make this work.
If you're building a product, generally you're looking for it to be the solution for a problem you see. Whether it's a personal or it's a physical item, you're the solution. You are offering a solution, right? Software, like I do, is a solution to someone that's looking for an all-in-one or an ease of use, shopping cart. That's
Yeah.
my focus. But if I go and I'm going to look at vacuum cleaners, that makes no sense. I should be focused on the one thing I could do good, the one solution I can offer that benefits their company, and stay on trend, stay on fact, stay motivated in that realm where it will do the best for me and the client, if possible.
Yeah. How can newbies perhaps like get their head around the idea of like because we said leads and sales. They don't think of like leads and sales. They think of like leads and sales like go and do leads and sales. And like that's not how our brains work.
Right.
Because like we go not sales, let's do leads. And then we go not leads, let's do sales. It's a very different way of thinking than just I'm going to go out and get some sales and leads and stuff.
Yes and no. But if you're the solution and you're going to get the leads based on the solution that you're giving, whether it's in a PDF or it's in a video, however you're going to market that getting those leads, I have that solution for you. Are you struggling in this area? What's the best thing that this little problem can be resolved with? Oh, by the way, it's me. So your sales, and then come back and go, this problem we've already solved for you. This solution will bring you all of these benefits. So then your conversions, when you get your leads, you walk them through when they land on your landing page. What are they going to see? They're going to see something that relates to how you got them as a lead. They're going to see that on your landing page for the sale. So it should be sort of the same, but you should be looping it. The same information is going there and there. So they tie in and it's easier to do.
Okay. So it's kind of like you've got like leads and sales as long as you're relevant and as long as you're on topic. And then follow-up sales.
It's still sales. It's the lead. You're selling people and giving you their information. Why would they give you the email? I'm not an email person, obviously, but I give it everywhere we go because you have to. And then Odette will show me my emails. And if it's some pair of jeans I really wanted, I'm probably gonna go buy those if she puts them in front of me. But if she doesn't, I'm not gonna say, oh, you wanted jeans? But oh yeah, I did want jeans. Oh, here's the link. Here's 10% off. Sweet, buy them right now. It's still the same thing. The reason I get in the email is the reason I'll make that sale happen.
Yes. If they know enough about you or if your headlines, I mean, Facebook knows everything about us.
Well, and if you're niched enough, your niche will follow you. If you get the lead, you'll get the sale if you've done it right both ways. If you're niche down, that your audience makes sense.
I've heard people like I'd been like on a sales call and somebody had said to me, "There's no way to get someone's phone number off Facebook," and I've gone, "Well,
no way."
Yeah, like
legal, illegal.
Well, then I asked, how to get your phone number? She's like, "Oh, that's different. Like, how is it different?" Like, well, you gave me an ebook. I'm like, I didn't say I didn't, but I still got your phone number off of Facebook. I'm like, here's an ebook. Give me your phone number.
And yeah, honestly, when you do, now you'll see that people are like, oh, hey, you want 10% off whatever it is that you have to put your email in. But then they say, give us your phone number to confirm that you wanted that 10% off. And they don't say that up front. And I get a little muffed about it. But then I'm like, I mean, I do want the 10% off whatever I'm buying. So fine. And I'll give my phone number here and there. Pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've seen like with the marketers, like with like the friends that you have that you talk about. I think I've seen like a lot of changes like since COVID and like how they approach things. Whereas that they used to have like 100 products each, and now they seem not to. Now they seem to be like focused on like one thing each. Is that a thing?
It's a thing because everybody that's in that internet marketing space from back in the day, you know, the Cool Kids Club or whatever we had,
yeah,
they now own software. So a lot of them have some sort of controlling interests in all of the softwares that you see. If you see ClickFunnels, if you see Go High Level, if you see Fusionsoft, they all own parts of those. So that they've got recurring revenue under control. Now they're focused on things that make them happy, like the coaching or the masterminds. They're not doing as many products because it's not necessary. We did millions in a product launch, and guess who did everyone's product launch? We did all of them. We took a percentage of every sale and we wrote the copy. We did the affiliate marketing copy. We did the email copy to your clients and your affiliates, all of it. But Andy did everybody's launch. And so it was
Wow.
great, but now they don't have to do those multi-million-dollar launch sales anymore because they've got reoccurring income from their software.
Yeah. Because it is, you look at like how was everybody successful at the same time in this group? Like, oh well, gee, I wonder.
Well, yeah, and they all communicated with each other. So like Jeff Walker, quality dude, awesome, right? He did product
Yeah.
launch formula, what, 186 or whatever level he's on now, but he's done the same thing, switched a little bit, took, let's say you need one of these mics, right, for your video product, Video Boss. The one that we sold you in Video Boss, that's a good mic, is not valid anymore. It's probably not alive anymore, probably died in the desert
Yeah.
like it should have. But now there's a new one. So you go and transform the Video Boss to new updated materials and the links to things that you're going to need. And you can relaunch a Video Boss 3.0. So people did that for a while successfully, especially if you had some launch help with copy and stuff like that, that you're not maybe sophisticated at, or Jeff was busy with other things. He didn't want to do all the copy, which is
Yeah.
fine, but it kept it going. And nobody else did a product launch product. Frank did something else. Andy did something else. He did video. Jeff
Yeah.
Johnson did something else. Like, so they had their own niche that didn't compete with each other, but was friendly towards each other.
I like that because like
Yeah.
they're all helping each other, kind of like Microsoft and Apple.
I think they might fight a little bit, but yeah.
They
Google
fight, but they're also a
fight.
duopoly. Is it okay if I just talk about Andy just a little,
You can
just
talk about whatever you like.
some chit chat about it, sort of.
Sure.
So because I just love him and he's the best, obviously. Like he's was too good for this world. And I was just wondering because like the things that you'd see, because he would talk about technology, he'd show you he was like up to the minute. And so a lot of the stuff he originally said is like that people should do video, but this is like back when nobody was doing video and now everyone's like doing video. So I just wonder like what would he be saying at the moment? Like would he be what would he say about AI? Or like, what would he be promoting now?
I think it would be exciting because everything followed a trend. So we did the video boss launch, right, for his video product about video. It was really
Yeah.
important, but it was ahead. It was when YouTube was new and people were just starting to get into video. We had to pay for hosting to get a video on the internet. And
Wow.
then we
Yeah.
designed Webinar Jam because, well, we need video on the internet, but we also need, a link to put in your product. We need a chat and moderation. We need people to come on as presenters. So we designed each thing as we grew with it. And they're like, hey, how are we going to sell Webinar Jam? Well, we need a shopping cart and we need an email list and we need a funnel. So we need a funnel builder. So we built that in Kartra. And so now if you say we've gotten that far with Kartra, we need to but improve Kartra as we can, but also you should be doing little videos. But AI can say, let's do this video. He'll write a script for it and he can have AI help write that script 6 or 7 different times. You take that clip and AI can take your clips and make them for you on your long video. Like the productivity video that you said he did in the beginning of this interview was an
Yeah.
hour and like 27 minutes. Guess what? When you have AI run through that video, they can transcribe it, but also pull little clips. They can do it themselves. AI, it doesn't need to be a person. And then you just review them, click, post. A lot of the AI stuff you can do for copy, for scripts, for pulling video clips that you need for more video on the internet makes sense. If you do,
Yeah.
how would you compare? Ask AI, how would you compare ClickFunnels and Kartra? They will tell you, AI will tell you, hopefully correct, like 10 things. And then you could do a video like, here's why Kartra and ClickFunnels are different. Here's where ClickFunnels is beneficial. Here's where Kartra is beneficial. And but it
Yes.
writes it for you. Now you're not paying high-end copywriters to do all of that research on the internet and go buy a link to ClickFunnels to see what it's really about. No, AI will tell you. They have all the information.
And it's amazing like how much ground it's starting to cover. I like to think of instead of people just go do AI. I like the idea of like, well, let's like look at all of the tasks that you're doing in your business and slowly pass them off. And so there's like that program HeyGen, and there's so many others like it, but it's just like it's your face, but it's not you, but it looks like you and it's your voice. So you go ChatGPT into HeyGen. There's my Facebook Live, and then you can schedule it using something.
Well, we figured out AI did my voice for an ad we were doing for Kartra, and I was so pissed off. I was like, that sounds just like me. Shoot. Now I'm useless.
I'd love to see, like, I don't know if you've got a link or something, later or something. But yeah, it's just amazing how much you can do. And so, I wonder at some point, like what are the legalities if like you've got like a business partner who is an AI and you want to sort of like go separate ways, like who owns what?
Ooh, that's a good question. You got to have an operating agreement that is solid. You
Yeah,
partner with someone, it's worse than a divorce. You better have every little thing noted in your operating agreement that you agree on.
Yeah, so we're gonna have like contracts with AIs because I saw that like uh the police pulled over like a self-driving car that was in the
Oh yeah.
news.
Uh-huh.
And then like the car drove off like once the police book because they usually they'll get your license, they'll run it, and then they'll come back. So the police still like they're in the habit of doing their kind of double walk. But they're on the phone to the operator, and like the guys with the car, like they've got their licenses, everything's right, and they're emailing back to the station, so like everything's fine. But I'm like this
Jeez.
world that we're in at the moment. Um, I think it takes obviously discipline, but I think it takes some vision for people to like bring it together and say like, how would you like it to look?
But that's where you give yourself the creative space. If you're looking at AI, if you look at the things that like what's the 10 things that you have to do in your company all the time? What part of AI can help you in those individual little things? Where can you put it to take time back for, like I said, you got to prioritize your time. It's going to be for your family or your company. Get rid of the things that you don't want to be doing when a lot of it can be AI in your company, especially if it's all online and stuff. If it's in person, the AI can do stuff for your internet presence. But yeah.
It's amazing times, just kind of like what's coming out. Because I think I got this habit of like the first time I hear something new, I hate it in the first second, and then I warm up to it within a week.
Oh, that's easy going. Very good. Well done.
It's a short little like. Do you ever do that? Do you ever find like something comes out and is there resistance ever?
Oh, I cannot stand TikTok. It's the worst thing ever. It's hours and hours of my teenager's day just watching little clips of nothing, just funny pranks and stuff. It's a huge, huge waste of their time. But now I'm like, okay, well, I can see how it would benefit your business. I can see how those little videos, if you get something that's a little viral or a little more productive, it'll hit the right audience. If someone clicks on it, watches the whole thing, or subscribes to your
Yeah.
channel, I can see now how it's beneficial. It's got its benefits. So now I've warmed up to it a lot more.
I mean, like, back in the day, TikTok was a biscuit or something. And I've got nieces and they go on YouTube and they type in brain rot. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a thing I'd want to be typing in. I'm like, and then I watched what comes up, and like they're recognizing like at fast speed, meme after meme. They're going, oh that one, oh that one, oh that one. I'm going, this is just colors and sounds. I don't know what you guys are looking
Somehow they're into it. And how can you make money from it? Nothing. They're kids. Go on to the adult place.
at. Yeah, I mean, I prefer them being into Taylor Swift. I've gone, there's some effort that's gone into that. So, and no
Winning.
one has a
Let the
bad thing
kids
to
win
say
that
about
one.
Taylor. Sorry.
I said, let the kids win that one. They can have it.
Yeah, no one says a bad thing about Taylor.
Nah. Businesswoman. She's good at it.
Absolutely, like you've got to admire that. Because I mean, like I can't sort of put myself in like in her shoes. I can't possibly like imagine, but um, it sounds incredibly invasive. Like especially when she's on the Ellen DeGeneres show, where I think it's just like, who are you dating this week? And she's like, hey, let's talk about my albums.
Right. Well, maybe none of your business, but they do ask those personal things. They like a little drama in there for attention. It
Yeah.
is what it is.
So how many hours? Like, it's okay if I ask, like, how many hours would you say per week that you would actually work on your business?
Oh, lately, like 4 hours a day,
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah. So like a lot of that's like what communicating with people and
Well, we've got the right systems in place. We've got the right people running the company right now.
yeah.
So what we do with it in the future, who knows? But right now, I get the reports, I get the board meetings, I get the permission-based things that they can do in the company and they can't do in the company. So I'm looking at the finances of it and I'm thinking of what creative things are we losing out on that we're not doing. But if I'm not actively involved every day, I don't really care for that part. That's why I'm doing the podcast and doing the book because I've lost interest in the Kartra building of it because they don't take everything I say seriously. Now there's a couple more people involved, a little bit more hierarchy of management. I don't like working with corporate management style, so I don't do well in that area.
The drive you said in the first place of like freedom,
Yeah.
um, it's like that's what you're in it for.
Yeah, we
Because
had a
it's
guy come
interesting.
in, did 2.02% of the company on our board to help me and Hector sort of figure out where we're going to go with it. And he's like, well, let's meet every week. And after 2 weeks in a row of meeting, I was like, this is stupid. Why are we meeting every week? We can meet once a month. What you're telling me is just what the board told me. It's a waste of time. Stop it. I don't owe you this time. Figure it out. If you want to get
Yeah,
hold of me, send me an email. Someone else will answer you.
yeah. Have you always been this wise?
No, no, not at all. I don't think I'm wise at all right now, but I figure out what I want to do and I get it done, and it usually works out for me. I'm this
So perhaps
confident.
experience. Yeah, you're experienced and you know what's going on.
Yeah, and I know I've never been normal. So the people are like, "Oh, you're weird," or you have different ideas, or you don't fit the mold of what is generally teenagers are into. And I'm like, good. I love it. Awesome.
I think normal's not popular right
Good.
now.
It's
So it's
boring.
like because there's fewer and fewer people that are neurotypical now.
Oh, I think
Like,
that's awesome. When people recognize that, that's better for them. They should enjoy
yeah.
that.
Well, it's like with things like ADHD, they've worked out like executive friendly tasks, which sound yep. Because you know how like with autism, it's meant to be like you've got like hyper focus, miss social cues, and then like you hear ADHD, and you're like, well, what's that about? Like they go hyper focus, but kind of like if the guitar's not out ready, you're not going to play it. So you put everything at like the point of access.
Yeah,
Um,
but I think that's a huge, huge benefit. Somebody that's ADHD that's hyper focused, if they can get their mentality in the right place, that's a huge, huge benefit. Because if you're hyper focused on the hierarchying things, like I said, the best five things you can do with your kids in the day, make sure you get those done. And one of them will be give them love and attention, ask them how their day went, like give them attention to listen to them, even if they're 3 or 18. But you make sure you're doing that every day, that's benefiting your whole family. You have to do your laundry too. You might have to, but I'd like to outsource that now to give my kids more of my happy time and less of my angry time. In your company, if you've got the hyper focus, you should be hyper focusing one day or something on all of finances. Do a skim of the finances. What are you spending? Where are you wasting? Then talk to the managers about those concerns the next day. So you've handled finance. Your hyper focus helps in huge, huge departments. I have 140 some, I think, employees in Kartra, and I've talked to all of them back when I was the CEO a few months ago, and I talked to every single one of them about their concerns. I hyper focused on how they were feeling, right? And then I got those little issues in our company right from their mouth right away. So I only focus on those things because when you have the ADHD, it benefits you. You just hone it in.
that makes sense. So it becomes your superpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do love that. So it's like once you've basically reached almost like any level of success, you don't have to then sell your soul and say like, how do I make $1 or how do I pay a bill? Um, Possibly, maybe don't like being asked the same question twice, especially once you've already answered it.
That's all right. I don't mind that.
Or if someone says like, come on, come on, come on, you're like, no.
Yeah. No, I
Um,
don't think so. Not gonna.
yeah, because it's like you've made your decision. You go like, well, this is how I think. I'm not going to waste the energy.
It's for me, it's my decision. So if you don't like it, I'm sorry, but it is my decision. It's on me. It's not your call, and it's not your job to judge me. If you judge me, that's on you. You got those negative emotions inside you. I don't really care about them. Doesn't affect me
Absolutely.
at all.
Just thinking, how is it going to affect your life in any possible way?
It's not.
Um, what kind of things do you love to do for like hobbies or when you've got downtime for the other?
I like to go on hikes. I'm in California, and we've got a bunch of topography here, so a lot of up and downs, some decent hikes that are challenging, which I like. I like to do a ton of Legos, like an unhealthy amount of Legos, and I like to do gaming.
What kind of games?
Oh, the nerdiest ones. Like Simpsons, Lord of the Rings, Mickey Mouse on my iPad, and then games like Sackboy on PlayStation 5 and Call of Duty and shit.
Oh wow. Do you do trivia as well?
Yeah. I
Okay,
rocked at that game back in the, 90s. All the Disney
nice.
trivia.
I've got a mate. If we go to a pub, that we bring him for The Simpsons because he's
Oh, that's so
memorized it.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just going like, how much of your brain is taken up by Simpsons?
So much. It's not necessarily healthy, but I like it.
Yeah. Or we love like how they talk about Australians as well, like how we've got apparently according to them, dollary dues is our currency.
Nice. Does it go with your criming?
Yeah, yeah. Um, so like we don't need like crypto or any of that sort of stuff. We just steal everything.
Right. Good. It's faster. You learn faster that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. Um, well, thank you so much for your time because this has been, well, for starters, like it's an honor and just a really good catch up. Just like hear how you're going, pick your brain, and what I love, like the pattern I see is like the better people are doing, it's almost sometimes like the shorter their answers are.
Yeah, I'm sorry my answers were short. They're just very concise. It's sort of
Yeah,
narrowed down to the best statement, line, two sentences I could think of that could really hone in what people are looking for potentially. And that's if I expound on it, there's no point if it's not going to hit home
Yeah.
anyway.
Like I've got
But
a mate, his name's Michael Lane, and he works with Success Resources. So he's like known, Tony Robbins for 20 years or something. And I interviewed him, and he's the same. I'll ask him questions, and he'll give proper answers, absolutely, like they're brilliant answers, but they're not like an hour long. Like it's just do this. It's like, how are your habits? Like that I write them down. I do.
I have a virtual assistant, so I'm not doing emails because emails are a waste of my brain space. No.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow. So like, you don't actually have to think as much as people would think that, like maintaining something.
Yeah, but what did you say first? The third question you asked me was how mad are people about the current events and what are they thinking about things that they have no control over and no power to influence? So that was the first thing you said. Their brains are all over the place. That actually follows what I do opposite. I don't go in that
Yeah,
direction at all.
something like my TV keeps making me mad. What do I do? Like, well, go look around the
Throw a
back of it.
brick at it, get a new one.
Yeah, you'll find a cable, take it out, the power. That should fix it.
Turn it off, go outside, come back, try again.
Yeah, go from news to music.
Oh no, you're so funny. You said you're on it. I loved catching up with you. I remember, back in the day, all the Stompernet, all the original, the fun things that we used to do with all the cool kids in marketing, and it's a good reminder, and it was a lot of fun. I'm really happy I got to talk to you too.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to hit the end record button.
Sure.